Welcome to our Fridays at First podcast. My name is Richard Gibbons and I'm a member of the pastoral staff here at First Presbyterian Church in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. Welcome. Allow me to begin this week by wishing you and your family God's richest blessings for Easter. The resurrection of Christ is so impactful and life-transforming that millions of people around the world this weekend will celebrate the wonder of the resurrection. So please come and join us Sunday morning and give thanks to God for all that He has accomplished for us during that first Easter weekend. Many of us already have planned Easter dinner with family and friends and purchased new outfits for our children, including the largest bow possible for the wee girls in our families. It is worth remembering, however, there is a golden rule for girls' bows at Easter. If she can lift her head up and hold it in position for a count of 5, you can use the bow. If not, you need a smaller bow. Our senior adults will also be delighted this weekend, as I can now confirm that the city has given us permission to install a zip line between the Richardson Street parking garage and the main sanctuary. We have tried this several times in recent years and it has proven to be extremely popular. And on Sunday, we are once again using hand stamps to regulate the number of times our seniors can use the zip line. Last Easter, a competition broke out between 2 of our senior ladies and the record for the fastest participant was 13.7 seconds. This was eventually adjusted for wind assistance. It is also helpful to remember that elders will be available to catch you when you come off the zip line and arrive in Memorial Hall. As we look forward to Sunday, most of us are aware of the times of our Easter services, but just in case you need to hear it again, the details are 8 o'clock in the sanctuary, 9:15 in the Worship and Arts Centre, 9:30 in the sanctuary, 10:45 in the Worship and Arts Centre, and 11 o'clock once again in the sanctuary. For additional information, go to firstpreseaster.com. And when you arrive on Sunday, please make sure you give yourself an extra few minutes to park, and don't forget that we will reserve the parking adjacent to the church building for our less mobile seniors and visitors. So please use the Richardson Street parking garage. And this week, I have a special guest. So allow me to welcome on your behalf my genial co-host, Michelle Ward. Michelle is joining me this week to ask me about the significance of Easter. Michelle, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Richard. And today is Good Friday, and we are looking forward to celebrating Easter Sunday. So glad to be with you today and talk about Easter. I think you've been talking about Easter since Christmas. Am I right?
I have, and it's an incredibly exciting time, so I can't wait to Easter weekend.
Me too. It's going to be a wonderful celebration, and I wanted to ask you a few questions about that. Share with our listeners why Easter is so significant to us.
Well, this Easter Sunday, church attendance across the nation will move from 60 million people to around 90 million people. And people, I think, are looking for authenticity and credibility when it comes to their faith. And the reason I'm saying that is this, that social media, which we love, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, and so many others, for all intents and purposes, act like a digital playground, and they're fun. Who doesn't like a clever meme or a funny video? But we also recognise that there's more to life than digital entertainment. And so on Easter Sunday morning, I expect people to be at church, and they will have, most likely, a desire to know, is the resurrection real? Is it something I can trust? Did Christ actually go to a cross, die for our sins, then rise again on Sunday morning? And so there will be that sense of seeking, that sense of questioning, that sense of, can I trust all that took place that first Easter weekend?
Absolutely. Well, and that makes it very significant for sure. And speaking of that, people coming and wanting to know if they can trust, how how would you respond to someone maybe who is skeptical about the story of Easter?
Sure. Whenever folks say to me, how can I be sure it's real? How do I know? I always try and encourage them because those are great questions.
Right.
But they're not the first person to be skeptical about Easter. In fact, on Easter Sunday evening, when Jesus appeared to the apostles, Thomas, whom we know as Doubting Thomas, was not there. And later that night, when he returned to be with the apostles, they immediately said, the Lord was here. He's risen from the dead. What the ladies told us this morning was true. And Thomas said, I don't believe it. In fact, he gets a little angry. And the passage in John's Gospel tells us this. He turns to them in a very aggressive manner and says, unless I can put my finger in the holes in his hands and my hand in his side, I will not believe. And so Thomas almost gets angry in his skepticism. But I think there's more to that story than meets the eye. Because when you read the passage, it says Thomas, and then next to it in brackets is the name Didymus. And Didymus means twin. But we never hear of the twin of Thomas. We hear of James and John, brothers. We hear of Peter and Andrew, brothers. But we never hear of Thomas's twin. And I wonder, and this is only speculation on my behalf, but I wonder if Thomas has lost a brother or a sister. And I wonder if the death of Christ on the Friday was too much for him. And I wonder if all of the grief of losing a beloved brother or sister, now compounded with the death of Christ, Thomas is really feeling it. And I also wonder if over the days since the death of Jesus, he has been prayerfully asking, God, what are you doing? Why would you take my brother or sister? And now you've taken my best friend. Is this how all of this ends? It just ends in death. And so I sense hurt and pain there in Thomas. And so when skeptics ask, how can I be sure? That's a healthy process. But what we also need to remember is the next step in that process was the following Sunday evening when Thomas did meet Jesus. And when he meets him and he realizes the reality of the resurrection, he falls down at his feet and says, my Lord and my God. And he moved from skepticism to a position of profound trust. And his life was never the same again because he realized that the resurrection was not only real, but it impacted and transformed his life as well.
Absolutely, as it has millions and millions
Indeed,
all over
absolutely,
the world.
down through the centuries, yeah.
And you just can't make this up.
You can't. And when folks will say to me, Richard, how can you be sure? The reason I'm sure is this. I have experienced for myself the transforming love of Christ. And just as you say, countless millions down the centuries have as well. And that's not an experience you can easily deny. That's an experience that changes you and you live with every day. And so when people say, I know Christ, he is my Saviour, they mean it because their lives have been transformed by him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is just a beautiful way of describing it and how we've all been a doubting Thomas in our lives.
Yeah.
So celebrating with us is and celebrating Easter is such a way to just confirm and affirm that this is real. Well, if there's one point you wish to make and to emphasize with our listeners today about Easter, Richard, what would it be?
I'm often asked that question, what lies at the very heart? And of course, we've highlighted the resurrection. And those famous 4 or 5 words that I hear around this time of year, for me, are the most meaningful. And those words are very simple. He is not here. He has risen. And that for me brings immense comfort. It reminds me of the power of the gospel, that the gospel is about a new beginning and a fresh start. It also reminds me that despite the pain of Good Friday, Sunday is where our focus needs to be. And I'm also conscious that perhaps this Easter weekend, a number of those listening to our podcast today will be sitting at the dinner table with family and friends. They'll be catching up with each other. They'll be celebrating the Easter weekend and enjoying each other's company and telling family stories and having great time with parents and grandparents and children. But for some of them, there may be an empty chair at the table this Easter when they've lost a parent or a grandparent, or perhaps a child. And Easter will be tough for them. But when they take their focus away from the pain and the grief, and they focus on the resurrection, and remember, the reality is, He is not here, He has risen. That's where the greatest comfort of all comes from. And so, with all of that wrapped into Easter, it really is an extraordinary time.
It is. It is indeed. Well, we are certainly so thankful that you're going to be preaching all 5 services. Is that correct?
Yes, and looking forward to it.
Gracious. Well, don't be trying to run in any kind of, Easter marathons on Saturday. You've got to
Well, I'm eager to use the senior zip line, and then I'll be right into the chancel area, and then I am wearing roller skates all morning so I can get around the building a little faster than others.
Well, I will make sure that I am with my camera if I'm able to be there.
Please do. Please do.
Absolutely. Well, we are, again, you all, just so excited to celebrate this amazing time with you all on Sunday and just celebrate the resurrection of Christ. And as Richard said, you can go to firstpreseaster.com to find out details on all of our services. And like we said, share it with a friend, forward the link, and we hope to celebrate with you on Sunday. Richard, thanks so much again for having me.
Michelle, thank you for joining me on this very special Easter weekend. One of the Easter traditions at First Presbyterian is to have family photographs taken beside the flower-decorated crosses on Easter Sunday. This year we shall have 4 crosses in place, so your family can have their photographs taken in your Easter outfits. The crosses will be located at the corner of Washington and Richardson, just as it is every year, but also on the right-hand side of the courtyard at the Washington Street entrance to our new building. So keep your eye out for the crowd and the cross, and you'll see exactly where it is. We'll have 2 other crosses, and they are situated in the Sturgis and Abbott gathering space. The cross at the Abbott gathering space will be for you or a friend to take photographs of your family, so make sure you have your phone with you. Photographers will be present at the other locations. You will also be able to access and download your pictures digitally. I look forward to seeing so many photographs over the next few weeks. And finally, next week our scheduled Bible studies and other groups will meet, and I look forward to welcoming the lunchtime and evening Bible study, which begins with lunch being served at 12 noon and dinner at 5:30. All of this will take place in Fellowship Hall. We will be continuing our recent study on the Gospel of John. If you're uncertain about whether your group meets again, beginning next week, please ask your group leader. Meanwhile, I trust you have a spectacular Easter weekend, and I look forward to welcoming you on Sunday and hearing again those life-changing words we mentioned earlier. He is not here, He has risen.